Anyway, I just want to say thank you to you too for coming out today because I was hoping and they were hoping too that we would see you. And something about that. When I had my last unicycle, and I just have to say this because it's something for this whole neighborhood to be proud of. There were 1,600 applicants, 1,600 applicants from Ohio to be in the inauguration when Bill Clinton was inaugurated in '97. 1,600. They came from. No, they came from all over the place doing all kinds of things, and they chose us. And so here we were in elementary school, and they chose us. And it's just, that's just one thing that really was a big part of my life. But there's so much more. I mean, really.
This week, you say when you came here,
Yeah.
and you started.
I came here in 1969, 79. And I used to put in to go to all these different conventions that they would have. And they had a convention in Dayton. And I went there, and they were showing unicycles. And I thought, that sounds interesting, because I was always looking for something new to challenge everybody. And so I asked the board if I could have some unicycles. And Mr. Bagetta helped me. And so they gave me 10 unicycles. But then I knew that I would need more. And one time we went and we went to Rainbow Hospital. And one of the people that worked there came up to me and said, "Would you be interested in getting a grant?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So from that point on, I used to have to write a thing every year, and they gave me the most money that they could give, and I started getting more unicycles, and then the kids started buying their own unicycles, and it just took off from there. But like this young lady in front of us, she was on one of my first unicycles, and it's just. There was more to it than unicycle.
Remember you called me out of class one time. You had just bought this ramp, 3 steps. And you called me out of class like, "Come try this out." And I was terrified. I wanted to get out of class, but I didn't know what you were going to have me do.
I know, but like I said, unicycle was a part of my career, but there was so much more. Just having all my students and
Thank you.
Loving being here, really.
I have to say one thing. I loved what I did. I was the first person here every day. I couldn't wait to get in the classroom. I couldn't wait for the kids to come. It was absolutely unbelievable. I've talked about Eastwood all the time. I've said this to a couple people today. We should have made national news because the parents worked together. That I don't care if a child needed help, all the parents were there to help. They were unbelievable. It is so true. I cannot tell you how proud I am to say that I taught at Eastwood School.
Well, I just want to get on the record. You made math fun for me. That's why I became an engineer. No, for real. That's why I became an engineer and a carpenter. Them fractions. No, seriously.
Thank you very much. I absolutely loved what I did. Thank you.
We gotta pay.
Thank you.
I am so overjoyed to be here. I love the Eastwood School, and I called all my kids my children. It was just a wonderful place to be, and I have so many memories of being here at Eastwood School, the things that we did, fun ways to learn and just to grow. It was just a joy. I enjoyed the Black History programs. I enjoyed teaching the Black History lessons, and everybody enjoyed being a part of it. I just love the dance. I have so many pictures. I have more pictures than I know the names of beautiful people. I'm telling you, and I just brought in a box and gave it to David Davis. Those were the class pictures. So I just wish it was some place that I could give those pictures because you'll know the names. So if somebody at the board, as I'm going through these envelopes of pictures, because I took them all the time. So I just enjoyed being here. And my first year was student teaching. I came in 1971 and I did my student teaching. And they said, if you want a job, you have the job. And I said, oh, I want to work in Cleveland. And my mother said, don't be stupid. So I started at Eastwood in 4th grade. But I did my student teaching under Lucille Edmonds. And she has passed. She passed in 2007. I retired in 2007. So I've been retired for 15 years. So it's just such a blessing and a joy.
Yes, I'm still short. It's such an honor to be here today. I am so very excited. I started here when I was just a teenager in 1973. And I remember interviewing with the Superintendent Hedinger, and he said, you'll probably won't like the building because it's the oldest in the district. Little did he know that I called this place home for 40 years. Wow. So I taught for 35, the same grade, you guys know, 1st grade for 35 years, and afterwards for 5 years, I was the reading specialist or coach. So I left here after 40 years. So, you know, I want to say something about the staff. The staff was just second to none. We were like family. And the family and the parents. You know, when you came up to conference, it was like we're having a tete-a-tete with our friends, our best friends. We came up with solutions as to how to best teach you and educate you. And whatever their suggestions were, we embraced them and they embraced our suggestions. That's why when I retired after all those years, and the next chapter of my life was so enjoyable because I had so many wonderful memories of you guys. I've maintained, contact with many of you throughout the years, and I even went down to Florida to tutor words in color to one of my students' children. So you guys remember words in color, right? And believe it or not, when kids came in not even knowing the alphabet, they were reading, folks. I'm not telling you memorizing. You guys were reading by October. Now, how phenomenal is that? Just to end, the test scores coming from Eastwood, second to none. Second to none. Everybody envied us. Even those of you who came from John Dewey and Westwood. Eastwood was family. And so it's bittersweet for me. I love my colleagues that were here today, and to all of you, thank you for taking the time out. It means the world to us. God bless you all.
Nevin Jenkins, class of 92 from the high school. Went to Eastwood. This is room 17. This was our first grade classroom. Miss Booker was the one that gave us the love, the knowledge, everything. Just that feeling that teachers gave you, just by being here, it was just amazing. Second grade, moving on, we had Miss Fields. I remember Miss Freed is here today for 3rd grade. She taught us the math skills, and later on became a math teacher, just like me and Mr. McCarthy become math teachers. I'm sure she contributed to our success today. Miss Mass is here, the gym teacher. This was a place of, my mom was just taking a picture with 3 of her children. All 4 kids came through Eastwood, had the same teachers mostly. It was just good times, and we just love this place. We were always here doing plays, just everything. I guess I did a little bit of acting later on too. I remember being in the Eastwood play about some kind of Christmas story or something. I don't know. But this is just we learned to read and write, but we were loved. You know, that's the key to education. You know, today it's just loving who's in front of you. You know.
Eastwood Elementary School was a memorable place. The teachers were very impactful. They provided us with a lot of experiences that helped us to grow and be like thoughtful people. They taught us to look out for each other. They taught us to value our work. I just remember this is just a loving place. That's my recollection of Eastwood. I have very positive memories of it, like from when the computers first came out and we first learned how to play Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, to the assemblies where we had to sit on the floor next to the teachers, to singing the Eastwood song. I love this place, and that's why I had to come.
Actually, it's a good thing because it's not a shutdown, it's a new beginning. You know, and right now, all the kids that went here are going to be moving to greater things. You know, and the greatest thing about that is that they will all be back together in one whole school. And that's going to be a beautiful thing because what they learned here, they're taking there. And that's good for the community, and Warrensville is awesome. I'm Tiger for life.
It's a great idea. The school is very old. I remember Cheese Castle days back in the field, playground, and things of that nature. Warrensville is doing an amazing job, and I'm glad that they're finally upgrading to bigger and better things.
So it's a bittersweet day for me because Eastwood was my school from kindergarten through 4th grade. So lots of memories here. Love the building. Remember, happy to see some of our teachers even here today. So it's bittersweet, but we know that it's making way for great new things for our district.
It's been a lot. Both my children actually started here, and I came to this community in 78, up until they graduated, and now they moved on. But I enjoy the memories of the dance club, Julie from here, high school, or whatever. So I really like this community very much. And over the years, to see it, continue to move up the way it's progressing, I think it's fantastic. I'm very fantastic.
Hi, my name is Angela Means, and this school has a lot of history and memories for me. I attended Eastwood School, graduated in the class of '88, but I attended this school. I had Miss Booker, Miss Williams, and now, in addition to being an alumnus, I work here. So it's a fabulous thing. I taught 2nd grade here at Eastwood and 4th grade. And it's just an awesome thing. And because I had great teachers in Warrensville, it led me into the field of education. So I'm just very thankful. Eastwood will always hold a very sentimental part of my life.
This is a good day for Warrensville Heights City School District. Eastwood has been a pillar in the Warrensville Heights community, but it's time to have our final roar. We have a lot of educators here today, a lot of people coming through just with a lot of memories and reviewing the school. I think with now us moving in the 21st century, it's a different vision, different educational model, and I'm just so proud to be on the board.
I just spoke about the fact that I've been in this building for forever and a day. Teaching here 23 years, 23 out of my 25 years. I just finished up 25 years in the district. And we have good teachers here, which led to good educators for the future.
All right. Hi, I am Tamika Paylor, also known as Tamika Clark now. This was my very first adult job when I was in college. I was hired as a para for in-school suspension. I was part-time. And then as I graduated through college, I did work in another school district, but I came back here in 2005 as their school counselor. I am still in the district. I'm the counselor for Warrensville Heights Middle School now, and I have very fond memories of just working with elementary kids, and it was the best.
Eastwood was a really good school
for development. Learned a lot. My favorite teacher was Miss Matthews, Miss Booker. And one thing I remember is she was very in tune with her students. I remember I took speech classes because she recognized that that would help me, and it really, really did. She was very personable and took time for each of her students. But Eastwood was a happy place for us. This was before they provided school lunches. We brought our lunch to school and ate in my classroom. It was special.
This is my dog Melvin from the class of '81. Hey, we chilling. We at Eastwood. Yeah. And we saying fond farewell to this beautiful building. It has so many memories, but you know, people like Melvin and so many others came out and really appreciate it. So this is history, and these people came out to witness history. Thank you so much, Melvin. It's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, my brother. It's always a pleasure.
Stay blessed.
You too, man.
All right.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mayor Michael Booker from the Village of Highland Hills. Make sure you tune in on Sunday nights at 9 to What's Good Warrensville, so you can find out what's going on in our community of Warrensville Heights, North Randall, and Highland Hills, because Highland Hills is a big deal.
Why we acknowledge the historical legacy of Juneteenth. And so on Freedom's Eve, or the eve of January 1st, 1863, that was the first watch night service. On that night, enslaved and free African Americans gathered in churches and private homes all across the country, awaiting the news that the Emancipation Proclamation had taken effect. At the stroke of midnight, prayers had finally been answered, and all of the enslaved people in the Confederate States had finally been declared legally free. Union soldiers, many of whom were Black, marched onto plantations all across the cities in the South, reading small copies of the Emancipation Proclamation and spreading the news of freedom in Confederate states. Only through the 13th Amendment did emancipation end slavery throughout the U.S. But not everyone in the Confederate territory would immediately be free. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation was made effective in 1863, it would not be implemented in places still under Confederate control. As a result, in the westernmost Confederate state of Texas, enslaved people would not be free until much later. Freedom finally came on June 19, 1865, when some 2,000 Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas. The Army announced that the more than 250,000, that's 250,000 enslaved Black people in the state were free by executive decree. This day became known as Juneteenth by the newly freed people in Texas. The post-emancipation period known as Reconstruction, meaning the time between 1865 and 1877, marked an era of great hope, uncertainty, and struggle for the nation as a whole. Formerly enslaved people immediately sought to reunify families, establish schools, run for political office, push radical legislation, and even sue slave owners for compensation. Given the 200 plus years of enslavement, such changes were nothing short of amazing. Not even a generation out of slavery, African Americans were inspired and empowered to transform their lives and their country. Juneteenth marks our country's second Independence Day. Although it has long celebrated in the African American community, this monumental event remains largely unknown to most Americans, but very well known to
African Americans. The historical legacy of Juneteenth shows the value of never giving up hope in uncertain times. And that is indeed the message of the Black legacy. Never giving up hope, but also understanding that until all of us are free, none of us are free. And so that is indeed the true legacy of Juneteenth. That the 250,000 Black Americans that were still enslaved in Galveston, Texas mattered so much that the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation meant something, but it wasn't enough because we had left 250,000 behind and that we couldn't really celebrate independence until everybody got over the finish line. And isn't that the message that Mayor Blackwell was saying today? Is that we never leave anybody behind. We have to push forward to make sure that our children are educated, that we extend opportunities to each other, that the right to own a home and to reach the next highest level, whatever that is attainable and achievable, not just for me, but for you and for everybody that matters to you, because its success is not just reserved for me, but rather for each and every one of us. Because if not all of us makes it, then none of us do. And so let us remember that Juneteenth is the legacy that we must all work to achieve, not just for one, but for all.